Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Super Sports Central. Today, we're going to be going over my final mock draft before the 2024 NFL Draft. So, this is going to be what I think is going to happen in the draft. It's going to be my predictive mock draft. And, real quick, before we get into my actual mock draft, I'll be having a live watch party for the NFL Draft where you guys get to see my live thoughts and reactions to every pick as it happens. So, be sure to subscribe and turn notifications so you don't miss it. But kicking things off, number one overall, you've got the Chicago Bears. This is going to be Caleb Williams, not a doubt in my mind. Obviously, they don't have a quarterback. They traded Justin Fields. Caleb Williams, an insane quarterback prospect, great athlete for the quarterback position, and Caleb Williams goes number one. Number two to the Commanders is going to be Jaden Daniels. Definitely seems as if that's the direction it is heading. He is a really good dual threat quarterback. He's a good passer as well. There's areas of his game where he can improve, but obviously every quarterback or every prospect can improve in some areas of their game. Commanders get Jaden Daniels at number two. Number three with the Patriots. So there have been some rumors that the Patriots might trade out of this pick, and the Vikings and Giants have been interested in the third overall pick, and that would be to end up selecting Drake May. But I think the Patriots end up selecting Drake May here themselves. They need a quarterback. Bailey Zappi is not their franchise quarterback. And Drake May, he's another really good quarterback prospect in this draft class. He has all the tools to become a really good quarterback in the NFL, and he's the pick to the Patriots. Number four is the Cardinals. This is another pick that is fairly obvious. It is Marvin Harrison Jr. out of Ohio State. He is one of the best receiver prospects we've seen. He is insanely good at everything. There's not really many weaknesses in his game, and he gives the Cardinals a much-needed go-to wide receiver. Number five, we have the LA Chargers. So there's been a lot of rumors surrounding this pick potentially being traded, and I could see the Chargers doing one of two things. They could either take a receiver in Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze, or they can trade the pick. I think they end up making a trade, and that trade is with the Minnesota Vikings. Because obviously the Vikings, they need a quarterback. J.J. McCarthy's still available. So this is going to be the trade. We got, obviously, I don't know if the Vikings are going to do their two first this year, if they're going to do 11 and their first next year. But this is the trade that gets to go through, at least on this website. I do think it will end up being the two first rounders this year for the Vikings to move up, or at least that's what I'll have in this case. But that's going to be the trade. The Vikings now on the clock at number five, and that's going to be J.J. McCarthy. Obviously, they need a quarterback. Sam Darnold is not their quarterback. I'm not the biggest McCarthy fan, but the Vikings need a quarterback. They seem to like McCarthy, and they seem to be one of the most aggressive teams that could potentially trade up. The Vikings get their franchise quarterback at number five. Number six, and the Giants. They have also been a team that has been potentially rumored to trade up. They're now on the clock at six. With how the board has played out so far, this pick is pretty obvious. It's Malik Neighbors. They haven't had a true wide receiver one since they had Odell Beckham Jr. Malik Neighbors, a great wide receiver prospect, does a lot of things well, really good with the ball in his hands, and the Giants get their number one wide receiver. The Titans at number seven, another pick that is pretty obvious. This can be Joe Alt. Titans in desperate need of a tackle. They get a franchise left tackle, Joe Alt. Really good all-around player, 6'8", great size. He's your plug-and-play franchise left tackle. Number eight with the Falcons. So I could see this going one of two ways. They could, really one of three ways. They could end up trading the pick, but I don't think that happens. So with them making the selection, they could go Odunze or Dallas Turner. I think they end up taking Rome Odunze from Washington. Gives Kirk Cousins another weapon on the outside to pair with Drake London, also Kyle Pitts at tight end, and Bijan Robinson at running back. They've really surrounded Kirk Cousins and this Falcons offense with playmakers. Odunze, an exceptional receiver prospect, really good contested catch player, and the Falcons take him at number eight. The Bears at number nine, this is where I think we'll see the first defensive player, and that is Dallas Turner out of Alabama. He is a freak athlete, would pair really nicely with Montez Sweat, has an insanely high ceiling, and he's the first defensive player off the board at number nine. Number 10 is the Jets. So I've heard they could do a number of different things here. But there is one major hole in this team, and that is the offensive line. There's a reason Aaron Rodgers' season last just 4 snaps last year, and that was due to a terrible offensive line. They've got their options with Olufishanu, Tuisfuaga, J.C. Latham, but I think the pick for the Jets ends up being Tuisfuaga. He's a right tackle out of Oregon State, insane run blocker, and he gives the Jets a much needed upgrade at the tackle position. The Chargers now on the clock at 11 after the trade down with the Vikings. So the Chargers still need a receiver. That doesn't change because their top two guys are currently Quentin Johnston, who is horrible, and Josh Palmer, who's a solid wide receiver 3. Now, the top 3 receivers are off the board. They could get someone like Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU, but with how the board is played out, I think we're going to see another tackle off the board, and that's going to be J.C. Latham from Alabama. Latham, another really good run blocker. He's a big tackle, and he's a really good run blocker. As I said, that's something the Chargers are going to do a lot of this upcoming season, and I like to pick their Latham to the Chargers. Number 12, we've got the Broncos. So they're in an interesting spot. They desperately need a quarterback. Obviously, traded for Zach Wilson, and anytime you're trading for Zach Wilson, unless he's your backup, you probably need a quarterback. Because their 3 current quarterbacks, Zach Wilson, Jarrett Stidham, Ben DiNucci. Now, with all the top 4 quarterbacks off the board, it seems a little early for Bo Nix or Michael Penix to go here, so it's really interesting what the Broncos end up doing. They don't have a second-round pick, so they can't really take a quarterback there. I could see them trading back into the first round, but I don't think they're going to take a quarterback here at 12, and the pick is going to be Brock Bowers. Extremely versatile tight end from Georgia, does it all, and he's the pick for the Broncos at 12. 13 for the Raiders. They're a team a lot like the Broncos, need a quarterback, and I really don't think it's an ideal position for them to pick a quarterback. I think the pick ends up being either a tackle or corner. I've got them taking Terrion Arnold out of Alabama. Not the most insane athlete, but he's a really good player. Defends the run well. Great cover guy as well. And the Raiders take Arnold at 13. The Saints at 14, this is certainly a tackle, and that is going to be Olufishanu from Penn State. Likely the best pass protector of any tackle in the class. He's a really good player, and the Saints get their future left tackle at 14. 15, we've got the Colts. So this is interesting. They could go receiver, they could go corner. Their secondary was terrible last season. I think they upgrade that with a freak athlete of Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo. Really good prospect. Plays well man coverage, zone coverage. Good against the run as well. Very, very good player that the Colts pick up there at 15. 16, you've got the Seahawks. They're another team that could trade down, but I think they make a selection here, and that goes one of 2 ways. Either Troy Fautanu from Washington or Byron Murphy from Texas. I think it'll be in the trenches. I think it's going to be Troy Fautanu from Washington. Listed as a tackle, played left tackle at Washington. Could move inside to guard, could play a lot of different positions in the NFL. But I think he is the pick there for Seattle. They keep him in the state of Washington, and they upgrade their offensive line in the process. Jags at 17, another interesting team that I could see trading up to get a corner. You look at the corner board at the moment. Cooper Jadine, he's not really a corner, more of a safety and nickel corner. Then Nate Wiggins, Cloyd McKinstry could be the picks there, but I don't think so. Instead, I have the Jaguars going with receiver Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU. They lost Calvin Ridley in free agency. Brian Thomas Jr., really good athlete, deep threat, touchdown machine. He replaces Ridley with a lot of potential to develop into a great player. The Bengals at 18, this is certainly going to be a tackle. You could go a couple different directions. You could go Amarius Mims from Georgia or Tyler Guyton from Oklahoma. I have this pick being Amarius Mims. He's inexperienced, but has a ton of potential. He's a freak athlete, insane size at 6'7", 340. Now, he is inexperienced, as I said, but they currently have Trenton Brown at right tackle, which puts Amarius Mims in a position where he's not forced to start right away. And I think that's what the Bengals end up doing, especially with someone like Amarius Mims, who has one of the highest ceilings of any player in the draft. The Rams at 19 is another interesting one. I could see them actually taking a quarterback to sit behind Stafford for a year or two, because obviously Stafford getting up there in age. But I think this is going to be a defensive lineman, and that's going to be Wiatu Watu from UCLA. He is probably the most technical pass rusher of anyone in the draft. The Rams really need help to replace Aaron Donald, who retired earlier this offseason, and Watu is the pick at 19. 20, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're another interesting team. They could go receiver, corner, lineman, bunch of different directions. I have this one being interior offensive lineman Jackson Powers Johnson from Oregon. He's a center. There's some other guys who could play center here. Graham Barton from Duke as well. But I think that this is going to be Jackson Powers Johnson from Oregon. I really don't know what the Steelers would do, but that's my best guess. The Dolphins at 21. I have this being Johnny Newton from Illinois. He is a great pass rusher from the interior, going to help replace Christian Wilkins. And Johnny Wilkins, a little bit smaller at roughly 300 pounds, but a very good athlete, really fast for a defensive tackle, and a great pass rusher from the inside as well. He's the pick at 21. 22, you've got the Eagles. This is another team that could trade up to try to get a corner. I think they don't trade up. Obviously, now we're at their pick, but I think it is a corner, and that's Nate Wiggins. Their defense struggled mightily at the end of last year. Secondary is a big part of that. Nate Wiggins, not the greatest run defender, but very good in man coverage. And he's going to help the Eagles' secondary, which desperately needs help. He also helps them get younger at the cornerback position. The Chargers at 23 after the previous trade with the Vikings. So here is where I think they're going to go receiver. They got their tackle in J.C. Latham. Now they go receiver with Donnie Mitchell from Texas. He is a bigger wide receiver, but anything will help the Chargers with what they currently have at the receiver position. Donnie Mitchell, a lot of potential, and he's the pick there for the Chargers at 23. 24 to the Cowboys, I have this being Graham Barton. He's listed as an interior offensive lineman, played left tackle at Duke, but probably won't stick at left tackle in the NFL. Very versatile, can play potentially all 5 spots along the line in the NFL. And anytime you can add that kind of versatility to your offensive line, gotta like the pick. Cowboys take Barton at 24. 25 to the Packers. This is one of the more obvious ones if this guy makes it there, Cooper DeJean. He, as I said a second ago, he isn't really a true corner, but he's a player who can be really good. Just a overall really good football player. Versatile player on the back end of your defense. And it's going to be hard for the Packers to pass him up if he's there. The Bucks at 26. This could definitely be a lineman. But with Jackson Powers Johnson and Graham Barton out, off the board, it's tough to say. Maybe they go Zach Frazier from West Virginia. But with Jared Verse still on the board, I think that's the pick. He's a powerful pass rusher from Florida State. And a great player there for the Bucks. The Cardinals at 27. For me, this is going to be Chop Robinson from Penn State. He is a player, a ton of potential, extremely explosive off the line, great speed, and has the potential, if coached up correctly, to develop into one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. The Bills at 28, another team that desperately needs a receiver after trading away Stephon Diggs. Also, Gabe Davis left in free agency. With the way the board has fallen, this isn't the best spot to be needing a wide receiver. Because you got Xavier Worthy, Ladd McConkey. They're probably not first-round picks. I could see the Bills just trying to get a receiver, and I think that's what they do. They grab Xavier Worthy. Obviously, insane speed, set the record for fastest 40-yard dash at the combine. And he's another player, a lot of potential. I like Xavier Worthy. Not quite sure he's first-round pick. Late first, I could see him going to a receiver-needy team like the Bills. But it's tough to say. That's what I have them doing for now. Lions at 29. This is another team where I really don't know the direction they'll go. I have them going Floyd McKinstry, though. They need help in the secondary. McKinstry is going to provide a big boost to the secondary, a really good player. Also reunites with former Alabama teammate Brian Branch in the process. The Ravens at 30. They could definitely use some help along the offensive line. Tyler Guyton's still here, and he's the pick. Just makes a lot of sense for the Ravens. And he's the pick there at 30. 31 to the 49ers. This is interesting. They could take a lineman, not necessarily the greatest lineman, at least for this spot. So I think we're actually going to see a trade. It's a wild one, but one that's not too unrealistic. So you've got the 49ers going to make a trade with the Denver Broncos. The Broncos move up or back into the first round to get their quarterback. And 49ers going to give them the 31st overall pick. Broncos will send San Francisco their third. They don't have a second round pick, but they do have a second next year. And that will be the trade. Well, this doesn't seem to be working. Let me try it again. Okay, that doesn't seem to want to work. But just know, this is now the Broncos picking, and it's going to be Bo Nix. That's not the 49ers. This is the Broncos. After a trade with the 49ers, they move back up into the first round. Select their future quarterback, Bo Nix, at 31. And finally, 32, you've got the Chiefs. Obviously, the back-to-back Super Bowl champs. Definitely need a receiver. Glad McConkey's available. Again, not sure he's really a first-round player, but really good route runner. And anything will help the Chiefs at the receiver position. But that is my official mock draft. That is what I think the first round of the 2024 NFL draft will look like. Again, I'll be live reacting to every pick that happens, letting you guys know my thoughts. So be sure to subscribe, turn notifications so you don't miss that. A lot more draft content on the way as draft once the draft happens. And so be sure to subscribe, turn notifications so you don't miss that. But thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, turn notifications so I do my best to post as often as possible. Let me know your thoughts of this mock draft. Does your team get who you want? Do they not? Let me know in the comments what your thoughts. But thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, turn notifications so I do my best to post as often as possible. And I will see you in the next video.